Hi everyone, this is Cheryl and welcome to my sewing room. I'm going to demonstrate how to make this really cute decorative kitchen towel and pot holder set. This is a really quick project. Each one will only take you about 15 minutes to make. This would make a wonderful birthday present, Mother's Day present, bridal shower, and of course, even Christmas. So let's get started. To determine how much fabric you need for the towel, first measure across the bottom edge of the towel. This towel is 16.5 inches. So to cut the strip that holds the ruffle on, add 2 inches to that 16.5, which is 18.5. Cut a strip 18.5 inches long by 2.25 inches wide. For the ruffle, cut a strip the length that is 1.5 times the width of the towel. So since the width is 16.5, divided by 2, which comes out to 8.25, and then add 8.25 onto 16.5, which comes out to 24.75 inches, but I'm just going to round it up to 25 inches. So my strip is 25 inches long by 4.5 inches wide. On your 2.25 inch wide band, have the front side of the band facing down. You're looking at the back side. Then you're going to fold the edge over 1/4 inch and press it with your iron. At your ironing board, you're going to press the edge of your ruffle piece. So have the front side facing down, and I'm going to press this lower edge 1/4 inch and press it all the way down, the full length of the strip. After pressing it once 1/4 inch, fold it again 1/4 inch, and then press the full length of the strip. Then at your sewing machine, stitch along this inside folded edge all the way down the full length of the strip. After stitching along this edge, then on the opposite edge up here at the top of the band, set your machine to a basting stitch and do a basting stitch about 1/4 inch away from the top, and you need to make sure that you not only have your top thread out, but you also need to bring up your bobbin thread. So just lower your needle in there and then pull up on your thread, and you will be able to get the bobbin thread out. Do your machine basting stitch about 1/4 inch away from the top edge and stitch all the way down to the end of your strip. Then, as you approach the end, lift up your needle, make sure your needle is up, pull it out, and make sure that again you have about 5 inches of thread at the other end. To gather up the ruffle, take the top thread and just bring the other thread aside. You're going to pull on this top thread and gather with your other hand and begin pulling it in. After pulling the thread on this side, you're pushing the gathers towards the center. Then go over to the other side and begin gathering from this side. Take that top thread and push it towards the center. And you want to evenly spread your little gathers up. Make the length, the same length as this band here. So just lay it up there until it gets to be the same length. The red band that I have here, have the front side of your strip facing up and pin the ruffle to it. At each end here, you don't want any gathers 1 inch away from the edge down here. You want that to be flat. I would use your pins kind of close together all along here so that you hold that ruffle in place. And then again at the other end, make sure it's flat 1 inch away from the edge here. Then stitch a 1/4 inch seam all the way across. After stitching this band on, go back to your ironing board and press the seam up towards this strip here. And how I go about it is I actually press from the top and I push against the seam with my iron to force it to go up towards this band here. At each end, fold the edge over a 1/4 inch and press it all the way across there. Then fold it again a 1/4 inch and press. And do that at both ends. Then go ahead and stitch along the inside folded edge. Center this strip across the bottom end of your towel. I'm placing the top edge up here about 3 inches from the bottom. So wrap the side of the ruffle around to the back and pin it down. And I would place pins down along here also to keep it in place. Continue pinning across this top edge, and then of course wrap this end around to the back also. Then you're going to do 2 lines of stitching. The first one will be along here. So along the side here, it's going to probably be about 1/8 to a 1/4 inch, depending on how much is wrapped around to the back. So stitch up across the top of the edge of this band here, all the way across. You want to stitch close to the edge of the band. Then stitch down to here, and then stitch down along this side. Then your last row of stitching is along the lower edge of the band, stitching close to the seam all the way across. This is what it looks like when it's all done. Now let's move on to the matching pot holder. For the pot holder, you'll need the following supplies: 1 8-inch square, 2 strips that are 2 inches wide by 8.5 inches long, 2 strips that are 2 inches wide by 5 inches long, 1 square that is 5 inches, and then 2 cotton batting pieces that are 8.5 inches square, or you can use just 1 cotton batting, and 1 square of Insulbrite. Insulbrite is a synthetic fabric that helps to block the heat. You can get that at Joann Fabrics and Crafts. You can also get it on Amazon.com and then probably other craft stores too. This is the fabric for the loop, 2 inches wide by 5 inches long. Bring the front side, the pretty side of the fabric, down, and you're looking at the back side. Fold it in half and then press with your iron. Unfold, bring the side edges in towards that fold line, and then press again. Take the other side, fold it in towards that center fold line, and press. Then fold it in half, bringing the 2 outside edges together like this, and then press it all the way across. After you have finished pressing, stitch along this edge here to close it up. Have your 5-inch square facing front side up. Take your strips that are 5 inches long by 2 inches, place them on opposite ends, stitch 1/4 inch seam. Then press your seam on the back side, unfold and press on top, and push this seam towards this strip, and do the same thing on this side. Then take your 8.5 inch long 2 inch wide strips, place it on opposite sides, and this one too, and then after you get them lined up, stitch 1/4 inch here and here. After stitching, press your seams on the back side, unfold and press the seams on top, and try pressing your seams towards the outside strips. Place your cotton batting down, or if you're using the Insulbrite, then place 1 Insulbrite and 1 cotton batting down. Then take the fabric for the front, have the front side up, the pretty side. Place the fabric for the back, place it front side down on top. So you're bringing right side, front sides together. Up at the top edge in the center, pin your loop like this. Then line up all your edges and begin pinning around all of your edges. Stitch 1/4 inch all the way around 4 sides, except you're going to leave an opening down here a little more than 3 inches wide. So back stitch here at the beginning. You start stitching on this side of the opening. Stitch down to this corner, and whenever you go around corners, a good idea is to leave the needle down in through the fabric once you're 1/4 inch away from this edge here. Then lift your presser foot, turn your pot holder, lower the presser foot, and continue stitching. That way you don't lose your place. So do that at all your corners. When you get here, back stitch again. Trim the corners. So you want to trim it down to about 1/8 of an inch. You can either use scissors or a rotary cutter. If you're using the rotary cutter, make sure you keep your fingers at a safe distance. So I first like to cut across this way. Then I like to cut just a little bit off at each side. This way it's not quite so bulky. And do that at all of your corners. Now reach in through the opening and go in between the 2 fabrics for the outside. And then begin turning it front side out. Now take your time because you don't want to pull your stitches apart at the opening. So just keep working it till you get it all the way out. If you're having problems getting the corners to come out, you can always take something like this, a chopstick, and begin pushing at the corners. Because the fabric is so thick right now, they're not going to be perfectly pointed. They'll be just slightly rounded. At your opening, fold the edges inside and place pins to close. And then stitch close to the edge all along here. Then you need to do some top stitching so you can hold all of the fabric layers together in the center. So there's a number of things you can do. If you're not familiar with quilting stitches, the easiest stitch to do is to just stitch right in here, what we call stitch in the ditch. And you're just stitching right in that seam, and that will help hold it all together. And if you know other quilting stitches, then of course you can do that also. This is what it looks like on the back, and then here it is on the front. For more decorative towels and pot holder projects, play this video until you see a green screen appearing, and then click on the links. If you like this video, click on thumbs up and then click on share to share this video with your friends. And if you haven't subscribed yet, click on that red button down there in the lower right-hand corner of your screen. Enter your email address so you receive emails about my latest video. If you're not receiving those emails, go to your cell phone or iPad, go to settings and turn notifications on. This is Paul, this is Manny, this is Tony. So glad you came to my sewing room. See you next time and happy sewing!